I noticed last week you had the most adorable, pretty eyes. Do you have a boyfriend?
No, sir.
Why not?
They're mean.
Boyfriends? You mean all boys are mean? I'm not mean. How about me?
Well, it depends.
In the post-Me Too era, it's downright creepy. Back then, it was all part of the biz.
Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
My breasts. Am I a virgin?
Justin Timberlake is in the house, and I just want to ask you one question. Did you Britney Spears? Yes or no?
Oh, man.
Come on, man. Okay, I did it. No.
Then, just a teenager, we made her body, her sex life, her relationships our business.
He's gone on television and pretty much said, you broke his heart, you did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do?
Oh my goodness. Hello. Ew. Strong Britney. Yeah, it was a weird. Ew. I'm embarrassed. Can we?
She said, I don't want anyone touching me. I'm tired of everybody touching me.
Behind each headline was a story.
Please, guys. No, guys, please, guys.
On the night of the infamous umbrella smashing incident, Britney had been left devastated after being denied access to her kids.
That night was not a good night for her, but it was a good night for us because it was a money shot.
But far from showing empathy, the world revelled in her unravelling.
Name something Britney Spears has lost in the past year. Answer with you on her husband. Let's see how that stacks up her husband. She's lost her sanity. Yeah, she lost her mind.
In the aftermath of her mental health crisis, her dad became her conservator, taking control of her life and finances.
The only thing Jamie ever said to me was, my daughter's going to be so rich, she's going to buy me a boat. That's all I'm going to say about Jamie.
Now, as Britney tries to take that power back for the first time since 2008, the world is rallying behind her.
What do we want? Free Britney! What do we want now?
An increasing number of fans and celebrities joining the fight to free Britney as this new doco forces us to take a long, overdue look at the part we played in her undoing and the change she's trying to break.
If that wasn't there, I'd feel so liberated and feel like myself. When I tell them the way I feel, it's like they hear me, but they really not listening. They're hearing what they want to hear. They're not really listening to what I'm telling them. It's bad. I'm sad.
Oh. Well, our entertainment correspondent Hyla has just finished watching the Doco 2 and joins us now. Hyla, I think it's certainly made us all even reflect on, I guess, just what we've thought of Britney over the years, seeing all of those different incidents there. I remembered how I thought seeing that and the opinions I formed in my head. What was the main takeaway for you?
100%. I mean, it's really interesting going back and watching all that old school footage. It's so clear, like, how poorly we did as kind of entertainment media in general. Like, there's so many failures at so many levels. It's completely justifiable for her to, quote unquote, have a meltdown when someone just gave birth and her kids are being used against her to force her into a conservatorship. Like, all this stuff is like really nasty and horrible business.
It's true what you say. It's like there's an awakening in the part that we've all played in this. But the doco is obviously triggering some serious backlash. Now, who's going to be the most nervous about it?
Clearly her dad. I mean, we're seeing now how Britney didn't want her dad to be involved in the conservatorship from the early stages. The lawyer that eventually was overseeing the conservatorship, and the fact that he tried to change the parameters of it by saying she's well enough that she's working a lot and we need to reframe this relationship so I make more money, but she's not well enough to get her out of the conservatorship. And then also, hey, credit where credit's due. the Free Britney movement, I mean, the fact that her fans kept the drumbeat alive and well, I think is one of the reasons why we're talking about this here today.
Hyla, looking back at the footage, what strikes me is that the journalists here weren't talking about some weighty issue of public importance. They were feasting really on Britney's private life and making all kinds of jokes about her, really. And that still seems like a really big part of the way that entertainment media works. I mean, look at the Kanye West stuff over the past year or so. So do you see this as a moment that might change the way that entertainment journalism operates?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that's a really interesting question. I think there is a shift. I think just with Me Too and Time's Up, there's a shift. People are forced to talk about things through a different lens that maybe didn't exist. Also, I don't think entertainment journalism is as big and powerful today as it was then, because celebrities have the opportunity to tell their own story on their own terms through their social media. Even if entertainment journalism doesn't necessarily shift, they just don't have that same power anymore, and they're not the ones they're running the narratives.
Hyla, it's been great chatting to you tonight. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys.
It's a lot. I just want to hear from her. I feel like her whole life everyone's spoken on her behalf. One day when she finally gets to tell the world all the things she thinks and feels about how she's been treated, I think it'll be even more enlightening than that.
Well, will she get to, is the question.
Yeah. I know, I hope so.
Or would she want to? I mean, she may not.
I feel like after seeing such a big part of life, but condensed even there, as we saw moment after moment, it's so traumatic. Like there's so much, kind of just a spotlight on her the whole time while these kind of disgusting things went on. I would be like, I just want to get out of the spotlight for the rest of my life.
But Carrie, how you were saying at the start of the chat that it makes you reflect on how you processed it
at the time. Yeah.
And I'm the same, and it makes you realise that your mental fashion is like your physical fashion, that if you look back at things that you wore 10 years ago, you're like, why did I ever wear that? It's like the ideas that you have as well, that it ever seemed okay to mock a woman who is clearly having a breakdown. That's really weird.
It is. Fortunately, we are evolving as let's hope we are in the media. With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.